All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is daily vlog number 18 in 2025, and today, feeling better today than I have in a little while, but that's not why I'm here. I am here to talk about them getting so close. They were so close. They could see, they could lick it. They were so close they could lick, and then they went whoop. If anyone has no idea what I'm talking about, and this is ironic, the YouTube algorithm has shown me yet another group of D&D adjacent YouTubers talking about what is killing D&D YouTube, and they got so close. They got so freaking close, and then they missed it completely. Yeah, there are two videos. I had one show up in my feed, that I can't even remember what the title was. Let me see if I can find it in my history, because it's a good video that I didn't finish watching because my brain doesn't like me. But it basically was talking about kind of a similar thing to my successes claimed another YouTuber thing, where it's basically saying all these people are saying D&D is killing YouTube channels. They're not killing YouTube channels. We're killing YouTube channels. And I'm just very quickly going through here. So this one, again, when I make critiques like this, I don't like to specifically call out any creators or quote unquote name names or anything like that, because the purpose of this is not that they are doing something wrong. It is the fact that the market itself is so uninformed and just unaware of how running a business works, that they are presented with this information. D&D channels are closing and ending, and they're doing everything they can to try and explain why it is. And you had, the first group of people, oh, it's YouTube, it's killing the channels. No, it's not. And now this second group, which is going, well, it's not YouTube that's killing the channels. We're not innovating enough. We're becoming boring, and that's why YouTube is killing the channels. And it's one of those things where they got so close to the idea of what's actually going on here. And if anyone wants to kind of come back, well, how do you know what's going on? You have a sub 1,000 subscriber channel and nobody watches your videos. How dare you think that you know better than these people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers? Yeah, well, the difference between them and me is I have a degree in business and a proven track record of running businesses really, really well, even when I didn't have the ability to control everything in the business. I ran sales for like a $15 or $30 million store. I can't remember. I did the math once. It was a multi-million-dollar store. And I, on my own, brought it from worst performing store in the busiest district in the company to one of the top 3 performing stores in the busiest district of the company as a key carrier. I wasn't technically even a full manager. I did not have the ability to write anybody up. I didn't have the ability to write schedules. Nothing. The only power and authority I had was I could talk to associates one-on-one. That was all I could do, and single-handedly, I was able to completely change the sales culture of the store and get everything working significantly better. Not just my little sales thing. The entire store started working better because I was effectively running it from the back seat. From the trunk, really. So yes, when I talk about these things and I kind of give this air of authority, it's where my authority is coming from. I understand business. I also understand creativity. The first time I went to college, I majored in theater and minored in music, meaning I didn't want to make money with either of my degrees. And I've been doing this D&D stuff publicly for nearly a decade. Like I've been streaming games on Twitch for I think almost 10 years now. And I've been playing D&D longer than that. I understand creatives. I'm a platinum best-selling author on the DMs Guild. Yeah, so enough with my credentials. So, and I will admit, I didn't finish watching the video that was basically, oh, YouTube's not killing our channels, we're killing our channels, because I just got fed up in the middle. It's like, we're not innovating enough. And it's like, you're so close. You were so close, but then you just missed. The idea that is postulated in this video, and there's one other video, which is, the title is something to the effect of like how to kill your D&D channel. And that one I haven't watched at all. But I believe that one has a similar theme, but goes in a slightly different direction, because the first video that I talked about, which is technically the second video published on the topic, references the previous video. So, I need a drink. So, what these guys are talking about is still focusing a lot on the idea of the YouTube algorithm. And if anyone's watched any of my videos on this before, you know that the idea of focusing entirely on the YouTube algorithm is based on a bit of flawed statistics. Basically, if you actually look at most channels and you see where your views are coming from, the majority, and I don't mean like 51%, I mean anywhere between like 70 to 90% of your views are going to be coming from either the homepage or the For You, stuff like that, where the YouTube algorithm is recommending your video to people. And so a lot of people make the jump from, well, if most of my views are coming from the algorithm, then I need to focus on making the algorithm happy, and then I'll get more views. As long as I do what the algorithm says, since it's giving me most of my views, then I will do well. And that's not how it works. That statistic is a real statistic. The idea that most of your views come from basically the YouTube algorithm, it's 100% a real statistic. However, there's the phrase in science, and the phrase is often misquoted as correlation does not prove causation. That's not what the actual quote is. It's correlation does not imply causation. And what that means is just because you can connect two things does not mean that one of those things is caused by the other. In fact, the fact that you can find two things that seem to be connected, it doesn't even imply that there is some sort of causal relationship between those two things. It's very possible they are completely separate ideas that just happen to correlate due to some completely random statistic. There is a beautiful website, I believe it's called like spiriscorrelations.com or something akin to that. But what it does is it just finds through just loads and loads of data that has access to, it will go and it will find correlations between things like, I'm drawing on my Swiss cheese memory, so this might be wrong, but I think I remember one about something to the effect of the number of bachelor's degrees in like education given out at this particular college, and the number of deaths by choking on broccoli that happened in a given year. And there was like a 98% correlation between these two things. Like it was bonkers how close these are. Now, does that mean that education majors from this particular college are going around murdering people with broccoli? No, there's nothing connecting those two things in any way, shape, or form. It's what's called a spurious correlation. And that's what I think a lot of these people are fixating on, is like, well, the algorithm gives me most of my views, so I must worship the algorithm. Repeat after me, folks. Hope is not a business plan, and that's what the algorithm is. You cannot control the algorithm. Hell, YouTube barely controls it. There's been lots of situations that have blown up where the algorithm has shown things to people that it shouldn't be showing them to because YouTube doesn't control the algorithm. Yes, they technically write the code, but the code is complex enough that it does weird shit all the time. You cannot focus on the algorithm. And so these guys are like, well, we have to be innovating and we have to do it because then we'll get more views. No. Innovation is really, really good. Because, I'll give you guys a second. What do you think I'm going to say here? Why is innovation good? Because it gives you free marketing. Wait a minute, where is that? So, innovation. Innovating in a way that is good, where you do something that impresses people, increases what's called word of mouth. Word of mouth is like this mythical thing in marketing because everybody wants it, but there's no way to actually get it on purpose. Every time word of mouth is the thing that has drawn tons of people to your product, it's been a complete mistake. Because you just can't control people. They've tried doing it like through influencer campaigns because that's remarkably similar to word of mouth, because the way that word of mouth works is someone that you like or you trust tells you something, and because you trust them, you automatically take their word over somebody else's, and when they say something is good, you go, I should probably look at that. That's how word of mouth marketing works. And so by using influencer marketing, where a lot of people have parasocial relationships with influencers where they trust them, they're trying to mimic that word of mouth marketing, but you can't actually control it. You can just hope. So innovating in a way that impresses people can actually increase your word of mouth marketing. But you just said you can't control it. I'm not saying that. If you innovate, you will increase your word of mouth marketing. It doesn't work that way. But innovation, if you do it well, you do something different and different enough that people notice it, will almost always lead to an increase in word of mouth just in general. Now, I say almost always. It doesn't always work. There are people, you see this a lot with restaurants. There are restaurants that are doing literally everything correctly, that has something that's amazing and wonderful, and nobody goes to these restaurants. They're these tiny little hole-in-the-wall kind of places. Nobody goes there, and it's not because they're not doing, they're not making the right product. It's not because they're not innovating. It just didn't work. Their particular customer base either is very closed, as in all of their friends are already going here, so the word of mouth isn't going beyond their current customer base. It could be that their current customer base just doesn't interact or talk about that particular product with their friends. There's a lot of different reasons for it. So I'm not saying that innovation is going to always give you more word of mouth marketing, but it's a good idea. Because not only is there a chance that it will increase your word of mouth marketing, which is going to increase your ability to get your product out there, but it also is going to give you a competitive advantage over everybody else in the market because you are doing something that nobody else is doing. One of the things that you're actually taught in business school is this thing called a SWOT analysis, SWOT. And it's something that mostly business majors do. I don't know too many businesses, people that are starting businesses that actually go out and do a SWOT analysis of the market. But it is something that I rely on from a marketing perspective because it gives me ideas of how I want to market. So this is something. And what a SWOT analysis is it is strength, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. So strengths and weaknesses are entirely about the businesses. So your SWOT analysis is normally done in like a box. You have your strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. The top row is entirely about your business. It's not worrying about the market at all. These are the things that your business does well, doesn't do well. The bottom row is about the market itself. The left side is about the good stuff. The right side is about the bad stuff. So that's why they make it in that kind of 4-quadrant thing. So when you're trying to kind of examine a market, you might not use exactly a SWOT analysis, but that is the things that it looks at are very common when you're looking at market share and the things like that. You look for, all right, what companies have, what are the strengths of this particular company? What are the weaknesses of this particular company? And one of the things that can be a strength for your company is you are doing something that other people aren't. It can also be a weakness. You have to completely understand what it is this innovation is. If this innovation is a brand new way to do something, well, it might be a strength. But if it gets the exact same results, but it takes you 3 times as long to do it, well, then that innovation is just turned into a weakness. Because now, to do the exact same thing that your competitors are doing, you are spending 3 times as many resources to do the exact same thing. It's a weakness. It's going to bring your ability to gain market share lower. So the idea of, they need to be innovating. They need to be, one of the things they talked about is like, we can't just keep using the same exact thumbnails. We have to kind of evolve with the times. None of that is bad business advice. But again, it is all focused on ideas. If we do this, we will appease the mighty algorithm. And then the algorithm shall bless us with the views. It's not how it works. So I hear you asking, pretend you ask this. Well, how do you know that it's not going to work? Again, all that stuff, those statistics are real. All those views are coming from the algorithm. Why wouldn't following the algorithm help? Because again, I don't see a direct correlation between, and actually I've seen a negative correlation between people that are hyperfixated on the algorithm and view counts. We've seen this over and over and over and over and over again. People that really, really focus on the algorithm get lower and lower view counts because they're not innovating. They're not creating good products. They're creating the products that they think the algorithm wants. So how do I explain that the algorithm giveth so much? Well, again, let's talk about that word of mouth. If you do something unique and a few people start watching it, there's a good chance that they're going to talk to other people and their friends. They might be in a Twitch chat and they're talking to a streamer or the other people in the chat and they go, oh, I just saw this cool video. And someone else in the video, the chat goes, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. And then when they're on YouTube later, they see that video. They go, oh, my friend just talked about this. Click. YouTube is going to view that as, well, you got that view from our algorithm. There's no way for YouTube to know that the reason that they're clicking on that video is because, oh, I remember somebody telling me about this. Again, this goes all the way back to that idea of product recognition. Remember how I said previously in quite a few different videos, 90% of your marketing budget for most businesses falls into this category of product recognition, just getting people to remember or to know that your product exists. Well, product recognition will change what people click on when they're looking at their For You page or the home page for YouTube. But YouTube has no way to track that. There's no possible way to realize that the reason that they're clicking on this video is because they heard about it on Twitch or they were talking to a buddy at work, or they were in Discord and somebody shared a video here or something like that. And then when they were on YouTube, they also saw that. There's no way to track that. They can track things like they can track views from other sources and that. Like if you're clicking on a video link in Discord, I don't think YouTube would actually list it as it came from Discord. But it does have a category of outside of YouTube as far as where the views are coming in. So it can, if they literally click on it from Discord, it takes them directly there. However, if they just watched a video, like maybe a YouTuber is doing a reaction or something like that, they saw the video on there, and then when they're going through their For You page, it pops up because you and this streamer have similar view patterns. A video that was recommended to them might be recommended to you too, and you click on it because you saw it from there. None of that stuff can be accounted for by the YouTube algorithm. And so the YouTube algorithm just takes all the credit for itself because there's no possible way it could know that. There really isn't a great way to track why people are viewing videos unless you do really, really in-depth market analysis types of stuff, which is something that exists. I don't know if it exists on YouTube, but I do know it exists in literally every other market. And it is unbelievably expensive, like millions of dollars kind of things. Like you will spend half of your marketing budget on this market research stuff because when it's done correctly, it is worth its weight in platinum. It is unbelievably valuable because when the right people collect the data, they can tell you exactly who is watching, what they're, or who is looking for what products, why they're looking for those products, what is the most important thing for them when they're making that decision to buy that product, where they're located, who their friends are, how much money they have, when they're going to be buying one next, how often they buy them. All of this stuff goes into what's called market research. And there are quite a few different market research firms. And the vast majority of the population has no idea that they exist because they do not sell their services to consumers in any way, shape, or form. They are an entirely business-focused company because me just going up and saying, hey, I'd like to know how many people like The Legend of the Five Rings. Okay, for that market research, we're going to need $250,000. Have fun! There's no value in talking to a single person or to 10 people or to 100 people. You really don't start getting good market research until you're talking to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of people. And that takes a lot of effort. That takes a lot of expertise to know how to talk to people correctly, how to interpret the data correctly. So anyway, getting back to all this stuff about what's killing D&D channels. Again, we had this huge boom of D&D channels right around lockdowns. Not all of them started there, but we saw this huge increase in the number of viewers. And that was true across everything. Anything that you could do from home saw massive increases because people were locked in their homes. They had to do something. As much as we are social creatures, we like to be social with the people that we like, not the people that we live with. Go ahead and quote me on that one. We need something to distract ourselves. We need something that can entertain ourselves. And there are lots of things outside of the house that can entertain us. Everything from like doing physical activities, hanging out with friends, going to movies, going to your work can be an entertaining thing. There were days where I had fun at work working in retail. And retail is one of the worst jobs ever. It is the most soul-sucking, dehumanizing job I think anyone can have. That and working in the restaurant industry in general. Hospitality is a very, very close second. And if there is anyone in like the hospitality, if you don't know what hospitality is, it's like hotels and stuff like that. Anyone in the hospitality industry that's going, no, we've got it worse. I will fight you on that. Because, yeah, some of the stories I have, not just from me, I personally have been shit on. I have been spit on. I've had things thrown at me. I've had my life threatened. I've had my family's life threatened. And I have a fairly boring retail career. They did a study in the UK and they found out more people are murdered in retail than law enforcement every year. And when I say murdered, I don't mean that more people die that work in retail than do in... No, more people are, while they are working their retail job, somebody comes in and murders them. Not somebody comes in, does something stupid, and they accidentally die. Actually charged with murder. More murderers kill retail employees in the U.S. than kill law enforcement officers. Now, it's a slightly misleading statistic because there's shit tons more retail workers than there are LEOs. But when you actually factor it by what does it go per 100,000 people, which is when you actually factor it by population, being a retail worker is only, I think, like being a law enforcement officer was like the 7th or 8th most deadly job in the UK when they did that study. Being a retail worker was like 12th. And it wasn't a huge jump. We're talking about less than like a percentage point and a half or something difference. So yeah, I'm sorry. Like hospitality was real rough. You guys have it real rough. Retail's got you beat. And I would say the same thing about restaurant workers, mostly because especially like wait staff, not only do they have a job where they get shit on a regular basis, but they don't even make minimum wage. Like there's an extra special minimum wage for what are called tipped employees. So a lot of these people are getting paid by their job, are getting paid like $2 or $3 an hour. I don't know what the federal tip minimum wage is anymore. When I was working, I think it was around $2 or $3 an hour. So anyway, back to the entire purpose of this video. Yeah, the idea of we need to be innovating, we can't just sit on our laurels and stuff like that, and that's why these channels were dying. Technically, that's not bad advice, but they're fixating on the wrong thing. If we do that, then the algorithm will blast us. Deus irae. Oh. No! You have to market your channel. You have to understand how to run a business. You have to understand your costs. You have to understand the difference between revenue and profit, and how to increase profit, how to invest profit correctly so that you can get the most benefit from that profit. Sometimes that profit needs to go towards things that the channel needs. Other times it needs to go, or sometimes that profit needs to go towards things like vacations and that, because you need that to be kind of refreshed creatively. But other times you need to reinvest it in the channel in a lot of different ways. It might be spending some money on marketing courses. It might be spending some money on actually paying a marketing firm to do something for you. Whether it's creating a new logo for yourself, whether it's talking with you to set up a marketing campaign, whether it's actually buying ad space on YouTube or Twitter or anywhere else you want to buy ad space, except for Facebook, because it's a massive waste of money, because nobody likes Facebook. And they kind of got caught inflating their numbers. And yeah, don't ever market on Facebook. I have no idea if the rest of the Meta platform is nearly as bad as Facebook, but Facebook literally got caught just blatantly lying to people about how effective their marketing outreach was. And I remember there was at least one company that just went belly up because they went full blown. Facebook has got the best return on investment ever, and so they only marketed on Facebook, and their company made zero money. They got nothing for that investment. So, in my opinion, before Meta's lawyers start yelling at me, in my opinion, this is an opinion piece. So yeah, I found it interesting, especially since the first video on this subject came out at least a day later than my video came out saying, success has claimed another victim, whatever that video was. Yeah, again, the reason that I'm doing this whole series that is going to continue, I promise. I just have been real bad for the past week. The reason I'm focusing on this series about this is how businesses run is because so much of YouTube, even the really, really successful people, have no idea how businesses work, and they have just gotten really, really lucky. One of the things that infuriated me, like absolutely infuriated me, when I saw the video, and this one I will drop a name because he is so big that no bad things that I say about him will ever affect him. Linus Tech Tips. If anyone here likes Linus Tech Tips, it's perfectly fine. I don't think he's a bad person in any way, shape, or form. He just annoyed the fuck out of me because he got in this little controversy where effectively what happened, he did a review of this thing, and or his channel did a review of this thing, and not only did they do it poorly, their review, they basically reviewed something completely wrong. It's kind of like, I'm going to review Fruit Loops by throwing them on the ceiling and seeing if they stick. That's not what you do with Fruit Loops. You eat them. No, that's what I'm going to do. If you like, the controversy was really, really big among tech YouTube. So if you want to look for it, you can probably find out what happened. After the whole incident, he basically made this big video talking about, you know what? It was a mistake on our part. We screwed up. And probably the biggest reason was because I am not a businessman and I have been running this business and I just don't like doing that. So now I'm going to remove myself as like CEO or whatever it was. He was leading his company. He's like, I'm going to step down and I'm just going to be the creative person and I'm going to leave it to someone that actually understands business to do it. And it pissed me off so much because it's a really, really common thing. The same thing happened with Felicia Day as far as Geek and Sundry was concerned. In a very, very different instance, but one of the reasons that Felicia Day kind of fell out of love with Geek and Sundry is she hated the business aspect of it. She was a creative. She loved being creative, coming up with show ideas and stuff like that. She hated the business aspects of it. And the bigger that Geek and Sundry got, because she was the founder and one of the founders, I think she was the CEO for a while, she had to do the business stuff because that's what CEOs do. And she just hated it. And it was one of the reasons that Geek and Sundry went the way that it did, was you had people that really weren't spectacular business people. It's not to say that Geek and Sundry wasn't a spectacular channel. It absolutely was. But they got lucky. They were successful, and then success lied, and then they got bought out by a company that technically understood business because they're a big multinational company, and then they fucked over the entire channel. So yeah, like this happens. I mean, it's almost a joke at this point that a channel will get big and then the person that founded it will fuck up beyond all recognition and just go, well, I'm not a businessman, so I'm going to put someone else in charge who is a businessman. But this is still and I'm the most important person here. It doesn't work that way. You want to make a living off of something. That's how businesses work. That's why businesses exist. As much as the anti-capitalist people will tell you that, no, all businesses are bad and they just want to ring you for all the money. No, businesses exist so that people can live. Like, that's the entire purpose. It's why people start businesses, is so that they can live. That is the genesis of every single business that has ever existed in the entirety of this planet, is I need a way to support myself. I'm going to do it in this particular way because this is the way I want to support myself. And then it gets big enough that they need help, and other people will go, well, I don't want to start my own business because that's a pain in the ass. So I'm just going to help this person do that, and then I will be able to live based off of them. It's how businesses work. Does that mean that there are no there are no corrupted people in business? Absolutely not. There's corruption all over the place. And it's not exclusive to businesses either, but it's on full display there. But yeah, I mean, it's just, that's why I'm doing this. This is a series, is I want people to start understanding this is what business is. Because hopefully somebody will start realizing that YouTube isn't a fly-by-night hobby. When YouTube first started getting big, it was looked down upon by literally everybody in the business world. The Hollywood elite looked down on it because, well, none of them are guild members, and only the Screen Actors Guild can create real actors. They are simply peasants that think they are important. And all the business people, well, these people are just fly-by-night morons. YouTube will never do anything. It's just a fad. Well, it's been around long enough. YouTube's not a fad. It's an actual integral part of the entertainment industry. And it has shown up in other industries as well. It's a massive part of the education industry now. YouTube videos are teaching more people. I would venture to guess. This is a guess on my part. I would venture to guess YouTube videos are teaching more people than most schools are now. Mostly because, or at least in the U.S. Mostly because in the U.S. our schools aren't really teaching anything anymore because they suck. But I mean, look at the just massive amount of educational videos that exist on your YouTube for everything. If you want to code, there's a video on it. You want to learn Photoshop, there's a video on it. You want to learn how to weld, there's a video on it. Everything. Blacksmithing, tabletop RPGs, obviously, knitting, crocheting, surfing, whatever you want, there's a YouTube video for it, and some of them are phenomenally good. Better than anything you're going to get at some Ivy League school or state-sponsored school or wherever you want to go. YouTube is not a flash in the pan. But even the creators on it are still treating it like it's this magical thing where the laws of economics don't apply. And as long as we stay in our little bubble, we don't have to worry about understanding how the real world works. We just have to make the algorithm happy. Happy algorithm. Happy algorithm. It's not how it works. YouTube is a business, has been a business for over a decade. Close to 2 now. I can't remember when, I think it started in what? 2005, 6? So we're going to the 20th anniversary now of YouTube. It's not this magical creation space. It's a business. And it works the same way that every other business works. That doesn't mean that you can't be creative. There's lots of creative businesses out there. There's tons of them. Just because something is a business does not mean that you can't be creative in it. But it also means that you have to kind of respect, hey, this is how businesses work. You're not allowed to just go, well, I'm a YouTuber, so I don't have to worry about labor laws or taxes or anything like that because I'm a creative. It's not how it works. It's not how it ever has worked. You want to know something really interesting? My advisor when I was in college the first time, amazing person that I will not drop his name because he still has a reputation and probably would not want to be associated with me. But he's amazing gentleman. There's this thing that happens called the American College Theater Festival. My freshman year, it actually happened at a college nearby the college that I went to. And so the entire theater department, all the theater majors, I don't know if we were required, but we were, at bare minimum, we were strongly encouraged to volunteer to help it. And I did, and it was wonderful. It was the first place where I got actual stage combat training. I had taught myself a lot of stage combat techniques and things like that, but I actually got to be in a class with a magnificently skilled stage combat expert. And he taught us some amazing, amazing things. And I think that the class was like an hour. I learned more in that hour than probably the two years that I spent at that college. It was amazing. The thing that my professor used to teach at the American College Theater Festival was Business for Actors. That was the class. It was called Business for Actors. If I remember correctly, I think I took the class. And basically what it was, okay, folks, I understand that all of you, because it was the American College Theater Festival, everybody that came there were theater majors and theater minors. These were all people that were like, I'm going to be an actor or a director, or, all these people that had these starry-eyed ideas that they were going to go to Hollywood. And the vast majority of your courses when you are getting a major in theater are going to be one of two things. One, you will learn the history of theater, which is fascinating. You get to learn names like Stanislavski and, stuff like that. And then the other half of your courses are going to be practical courses. Things like, this is how you develop a character. This is how you read a script. If you're really, really lucky, you might be able to get a course on auditioning, which is the most important skill for an actor to actually learn. That was day one of my Theater 101 class, was my professor coming up and going, hey, guess what? For all of you thinking that as an actor your job is to act, you are wrong. As an actor, your job is to audition. Acting is an accidental side effect that happens when you audition enough. But your job is to audition, and to audition well. So anyway, this entire, nothing in any theater program that I've ever seen has ever talked about, this is how you pay your quarterly taxes. This is how you figure out what your taxable income is. This is how you figure out what your self-employment tax is. This is, and that was the entire course, was him just going over, this is how you actually live as an actor. Because yes, it's super, super cool and fun to act. It really, really is. If you've never done it, it's an exhilarating experience. But it's such a tiny, 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 tiny part of what it is of actually being a working actor. And the idea of people like Keanu Reeves and stuff like that, where they are just given parts, they are freaks of nature in the acting world. That's not how acting works. Generally, again, Theater 101, first day, my professor goes, if I audition for 50 productions in a year and I get 2 roles, that was a good year. You are constantly auditioning. You are constantly being rejected. And every so often, most of the time, purely by happenstance and accident, you get a role. And then you make money, and then you repeat the thing all over again. But so much of creatives focus so much on the creative aspects of it and completely ignore the fact that, hey, yes, being creative is really amazing and wonderful, but if you want to be your own boss, you have to be a boss. You have to understand what being a boss is. You have to understand what a business is. Otherwise, you are limiting yourself to working for someone else for the rest of your life. If you do not learn how businesses work, you will be an employee for the rest of your life. And it's not because you've chosen that. It will be because you are simply incapable of being your own boss. So that's the whole purpose of this. And going back to the original purpose of this video, that's why it frustrates me so much when I see these people get so close that they could lick the actual solution, and then they completely go in the right field because they simply don't understand basic tenets of business. Because again, we don't teach it. There are not, like, if you take business courses in high school, you will not learn tax codes or anything like that. You might learn things like the types of businesses out there, but you won't learn how to actually run a business. It's not taught. In business school, again, I went to business school. They didn't teach me that stuff. They taught me, all these other useful things. Again, a lot of the marketing history stuff is really good. A lot of the kind of economic aspects of marketing were very, very useful. But as far as how to actually run a business, I can talk to you for about an hour about the difference between stocks and bonds, and when you should invest in stocks and when you should invest in bonds, and how much of your business portfolio should be investments versus how much of your portfolio should be reinvestments in the business of itself, and what your liabilities and assets should be as far as like the mix of the things like that. But nowhere in business school did it teach me how to motivate an employee to do their job better. Nowhere in business school did it teach me how to train someone to do a task. Those two things are significantly more important. And things like understanding marketing is really limited to people that study marketing. Your average business degree might talk something about marketing, but for the most part, they'll go, yeah, hire a marketing person. And marketing is such an important aspect of every business in the world. And people just don't understand. Things like pricing has nothing to do with the cost it makes to produce the product. Absolutely nothing. Pricing is a marketing strategy. It is decided by people who have no idea how much it costs to make. Has nothing to do with costs of goods. And also doesn't have anything to do with profit margin. Pricing is a marketing strategy. So anyway, found that interesting. Thought you guys might find it interesting. Interested to hear back from you guys. Yeah. What do you guys think? First of all, what do you guys think about like the TTRPG/D&D YouTube ethos in general? Right now, there's this huge ripple going through it where people are getting freaked out because D&D channels have been going for right around 4 years. God, what happened 4 years ago? I wish I could figure that out. Are finally closing their doors. And people are freaking out because they thought that this was a sure thing, and it's not the sure thing that they thought they were. And so you have all these people trying to find different ways to do it. Some are using clickbait. Some are focusing on, well, I have to be different than everyone else. And other people are just like, if I put shit tons of content out, then everyone will watch my channel. All of them are wrong in one way, shape, or another. What really needs to happen is people need to understand how businesses work. People need to understand how the market works. And neither of those things are in great supply in the D&D YouTube echelon, whatever you want to call it. My brain's not working right now. So I hope somebody watches these videos. If any D&D YouTubers are watching this and want to collab, I've mentioned this many times before, collabs are fantastic marketing. I would be 100% open to collabing with anybody. Shoot me a tweet on Twitter. Comment on my video here. We'll find a way to get in contact with each other. I would love. If you think I'm 100% wrong, I would love to sit down. We'll do a Zoom call, whatever. We'll stream it. We'll have a debate. Debate me. Debate me. No, don't do that. It's well stupid. If you think I'm 100% wrong, I'm talking out of my ass. I am more than happy to show up on your channel, have a conversation with you, talk about the things that I have learned in my years in business and since my disability stopped me from being able to work. I would be happy to work with anybody in this space, big or small. I don't think you can get much smaller than me, so. But you want to find an audience that you're not targeting yet? It's right here. Collab with me. It will be fun, I promise. I'm a very nice person, I swear. Like, people enjoy talking to me for the most part. If they can get past this stutter, it's fine. I'm a very nice person. Please collab with me, please. Anyway, it's all for me today. We'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.